Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. I'm Katie Fielding. I'm the Education Content Manager, and I have Jon, our Senior Teacher Success Manager, with me today. And we're really excited to talk about how you can use Book Creator in any classroom, but especially to support our special education students. So if you're joining us live today, please share in the chat where you are joining us from. And also, I just want to show that you can get all of the resources from this book by visiting that link. We'll have that up for a little while, so you can get the resources today right there. Jon, how are you feeling today?
I'm good. It is. I almost said it's Monday, but it's not. It's Wednesday. Like all the days just mush together at this point, and it's just like whatever happens, happens. So we go with the flow.
Yes. And that's really tied into being inclusive is like going with the flow, doing what needs to be done to help students and make learning as inclusive for them as possible.
Absolutely.
So this book that we're sharing is our inclusive guide to using Book Creator. And it is a really great teacher guide. So all of these resources are in the book that's linked to making sure that we're making our classrooms inclusive through engagement and making engagement a focus, representation, and action and expression. So all those good things that align to good universal design for learning from CAST teaching.
Awesome. And I want to add to this too. Like, I think this is really important. So not only, as a former special ed teacher, I think it's important to note that that this guide, right, may be for all of you. You're like, this is cool. I'm here for this webinar. I'm getting this teacher guide. Please share this out with anybody. All right, because I guarantee you that all of your teachers, or at least most of your teachers, have some kind of exposure to students who have specific needs, have issues with engagement, have issues with confidence and participation, and all that stuff that we're about to talk about. It's important that everybody gets this guide so that they can have the ability to help all students. And I think that's the most important, because I'm a big believer in the fact that like engagement, lack of learning, those things mostly happen because we're too busy boxing kids into these little boxes that we think like, it's like, Katie, the only way you can show me that you know photosynthesis is by drawing a photosynthesis diagram, right? And Katie might be like, dude, I'm a terrible artist. And so she automatically is like, I'm out. Like, I don't want to do this because you're telling me how to do this. And so I think that's the most important part about what we're showing today and talking about, is that Book Creator really has the potential to allow every student to shine. And as long as you and your colleagues allow kids to shine in various ways, then you're going to see engagement go up. You're going to see scores go up. You're going to see improvement in class behavior, because every kid now feels like they have something to say, and you're actually giving the power back to the kids. So take this guide, but don't gullum it and hold on to that thing like it's the Lord of the Rings or something. Like, share this out there with your friends and colleagues.
Definitely. The first thing that we want to share, the first kind of tip that's in the book, is that Book Creator is all about providing accessibility to our students. So in Book Creator, you can add alternative text. So for instance, I have this image right here. I can come up. I've already added the alternative text. But if I was to take this away, let's see, this nice little button's here, and you can actually use AI to generate the alternative text for any image in a Book Creator book. So there it is. I'll save that. And so that makes it more inclusive to users who are using screen readers, because then that will be a description that's read to them so that they can understand the function and context of that image on the page. Some other really great accessibility features that we have is when students come in here and they record audio, that can be transcribed. So they can have that, that audio transcribed for them. They can also, when you as a teacher import a PDF, it can be converted to text to speech so that PDF can be read aloud to a student. So all of these inclusive features are really a focus for us and our product team. And they are the base, the foundation of why Book Creator was created. The founder created Book Creator to support his dyslexic son in enjoying reading and writing. And that's what we want for all students with disabilities.
Yeah.
And so we're really excited to announce something. But what do you want to add, John?
Well, I was going to say, just while you were talking about the adding the alternative text, I think that is a really cool feature. And I'll be honest, sometimes I forget to do it. Shame on me, right? When I make my books, but kids almost always forget to do it, right? And so I think it's important to let kids know that, like, the real power with Book Creator is when other people get to benefit from the stuff that you create, right? So the lesson here for students is that you're making a book, but you're not just making it for yourself, right? You want other people to fully experience the book the way you experience it. And if you have an image in a book and you have somebody who has visual impairments and they hit the play button and they get the words and they get the audio, but they don't get the images, they're not visualizing the images because you didn't put, a description there, then that's not good, right? And so I think that not only does this get kids to realize that other people can benefit and that they should benefit from your books, but it helps develop that sense of empathy, right, with your students, where it's like, hey, it's not just about me, right? It's about others reading my book. So I should allow others the opportunity to read it. So I'm gonna use those features.
Yeah, I love that. I would love having students being creative creators that keep accessibility in mind. And because of that, I actually created this School AI chatbot. We love School AI. It works really nicely. But I uploaded our knowledge base, our support pages, and I prompted this chatbot to help a student after they create their book do an accessibility check. So it will show them to, make that sure they did that alternative text. Did they caption their images so that we can create that next generation of creators to be accessible creators, which is what we want to see. So I'll put this in the chat so everyone can get to that chatbot and use it with their students.
That's awesome.
So let's keep going. But the big announcement that we have, the thing that we're super excited about, is because of all this accessibility features, we just received the UDL product certification for the accessibility baseline from CAST. So that is a really great validation to show that our tool is accessible for all learners, whether they're on assistive technologies or using screens and keyboards. So we're just really celebrating this today and super excited about it.
Yeah, thank you, Katie, for all your hard work getting that through. So, and everybody else on our team that had their hands into it.
A lot of engineering work to make sure we are up to snuff on this.
That is awesome. All right, I think this is me. And so capturing growth, I think this is really, really important in Book Creator. And Book Creator has the ability to become this like one size, like this thing, right, that collects all of the student data, right, throughout the year as a portfolio or even just a book documenting growth. But I love the ability of Book Creator to do that. And the ability of Book Creator to add things like video and audio is so important because now we can hear, we can see, we can really truly get that growth, right, that is happening. I'll use my daughter as an example. So my own daughter was put on a reading improvement plan. We were asking the classroom teachers what to do to help, and they were giving us some information. But my daughter was really struggling because she did not even want to go to school, right? And so what we ended up doing was using Book Creator to help her with her reading skills by using the audio record button, by using video so she could record her fluency and listen to herself reading. And I always joke, like, if you want to ruin a child's life, if they're not a great reader, make them record themselves and listen to it, right? Because they will go back and they will be like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. And you're like, I know, like, that's why we're doing this. And so my daughter heard herself and was like, ugh, I got to fix this. And so we started recording her voice every night for like 1 minute, just reading stuff. And she would go back and listen to it. And that right there became so powerful for her that in like 1 9-week period, she was outperforming everybody and outperforming her end of year scores in January. So like, this is really important. But not only can you capture that growth for your own personal self in your own classroom, you can then share that with parents. And I know we're going to talk about sharing later, but having that be able to be sent home to parents so they can hear it too is way more powerful than just sending home a note that says your kid went from a 6 to like a 7 or something like that. Like nobody understands what that means, and nobody cares. So doing something like this is much more powerful. And we have a great link to a book in there that talks about this. And we also have our one-pagers that we will see scattered throughout this book. The one-pagers are fantastic. The total side note, in the 7.5 years that I've been at Book Creator, nobody has talked about one-pagers for 7 straight years. All right. And in like the last 6 months to a year, that's all people talk about are one-pagers, right? And here's why I love them, though. Because you can put these in the staff lounge, you can put them by the copy machine, you can stick them in a bathroom stall. I've got people calling that potty PD, right? You can put a potty PD sign in the bathroom stalls, and you're teaching people about stuff all the time. So I love those one-pagers.
Yeah, we have a great full set of them. We have some more about to drop. So always check our resources part of our website. Those one-pagers are there, and a really great resource. I would have loved to have had when I was a coach. Like you said, it's like print and go.
That's right. Okay, now this is, again, similar to what I was just talking about with my daughter, but this is the ability really to track that progress, all right? And not only just track progress, but give the kids the supports they need to help move them along, right? That continuum of success, all right? And one of the things that we have that is really powerful is under that plus button, and there is a section called media, and under media, you're gonna see templates, all right? And there are, I think, almost 1,000 templates. If there's not 1,000, there's soon going to be 1,000, because we just added a whole bunch of, or going to add a whole bunch of templates like checklists, rubrics, that kind of stuff.
They're there.
I was gonna say, I see red dots.
They're live today. Yeah.
Boom.
And rubrics.
Awesome. I got a customer I got to reach right back out to after this webinar and let her know. But these are fantastic because you don't have to reinvent a wheel, right? And I think this is, a lot of times people are like, yeah, Book Creator sounds really cool for documenting progress, but I can't make a checklist. I have no creativity skills. I have no design skills. Well, no worries. We've got one for you. So and all you got to do is change the word around a little bit to fit your needs. But these checklists are great. And I always tell people too, don't underestimate the power of packaging. All right. Yes, I can make a checklist on a piece of paper in black and white, and I can hand it to my kids and say, here's what you need to do. And they're going to look at it and they're going to go, no thanks. Right. But if you give them something fun and engaging and powerful like this, they're going to be like, all right, I like the packaging here. Let's do this. So tracking progress is easy in Book Creator. And again, we've got lots of templates to help support your kids along the way in helping them track their progress.
Publishing.
Okay, this right here, this is my jam. All right, so any of you that are listening who know anything about me knows that I found Book Creator on the day it became available on the iPad app. And I have been using it every day since. So I'm like super, super old when it comes to using Book Creator. But the real power for me with Book Creator was not only how easy Book Creator is and how much kids could get out of it, but it was the ability to share their work with somebody other than me. All right. Because when I read their stuff, the kids were just like, yeah, whatever. The teacher's reading it. We don't really care. But when I was able to publish their work and share that online with other people, with Twitter, Facebook, whatever the case. See, I'm old. I still call it Twitter. All these things, right? I was able to share this out there. That made a huge difference for the kids because they knew that other people were going to view it. So their quality of work went up, student engagement went up. They showed up to class just because somebody other than me had a chance to benefit. And so one of the things that I love, even beyond just sharing like finished work right out there with the world, is the ability to share the books with parents right away. So share the book with a parent on day one, right? You hit publish, you give it for parents, I make it private. And I don't allow remixing because it's just a student book. I publish it to the parents on day one and there's nothing in it, right? There's very little in it, maybe the cover page and that's it. But then every day the parents get used to going in and looking and refreshing that page and they can see that progress that happens every day. And eventually parents are going to be so excited they share it with their cousins and their aunts and uncles and grandparents. And then you get analytics and you can tell your kids, hey, you know what? All that cool stuff you're doing in class that we've been documenting, look at all the people all over the world who are viewing that, right? So super, super engaging. Absolutely love publishing.
Yeah, I love the ability to give students an authentic audience. It's so empowering. And it's one of the ISTE standards. So if we're doing our ISTE standards for students, that is one of the ones that they need to master. And this is a great way to do that.
Absolutely.
The next thing is making sure you, as an educator, are giving your students content that's accessible. So I love UDL. The middle piece of the framework of UDL is representation. So we're making sure that we're providing students all the same information in multiple means. So imagery, video, text. And if it's text, can it be translated to their home language? So with Book Creator, it's so easy to even take a PDF that you already have and transfer it and make it accessible just with our PDF feature. So this is a great one that you shouldn't definitely overlook.
Absolutely. All right. Now, the next one is giving feedback. All right. I always joke about this, but it is 100% true. Feedback is so, so important. All right. It is so important because if I'm being like from a completely selfish standpoint, the better feedback that I give to kids, the better work they're going to make. And the better work they make, the more fun I have grading it anyway. Right. So it's kind of like a win win for me. But more importantly, for students, being able to give them feedback is very powerful because it tells them what you like about their work, ways they can improve it, and it just helps guide them, right? Instead of just everything being like this giant mystery, right? Like, I don't know how I get an A. I just hope I get an A, right? No, like, give them feedback. And as you can see here, Katie's showing you that you can give feedback as gifts, you can give feedback as stickers, which is totally my thing. It reminds me, I'm old and I remember like scratch and sniff stickers. So like the only thing missing from these stickers is the smell. Like, to be honest, they look exactly like them. So I love these. But you can also give comments if we're talking about, accessibility and helping all students. You can give comments as video. You can give comments as audio. You can even translate it like Katie just did there, where she translated the text into Urdu. So there are so many possibilities here. And with all of the tools we have in that feedback, there's really no reason not to, right? It's really amazing. And again, if we're talking about the benefits of work for feedback for kids, it's also great because you can do video and audio. It's going to save you time, right, as a teacher. So keep that in mind. But the feedback tool is really fantastic.
I love it too. I think in a world of where so much feedback can feel artificial to say, being able to use video or audio to do that makes it really, really authentic.
Yep. All right. Now, collaboration is definitely one of my favorite parts of Book Creator. And I love collaboration from a few different standpoints. I love the fact that students can collaborate together on something so they can all work together in the same book, which is unbelievable. But my absolute favorite is the collaboration that can happen between teachers. All
Wow.
right. So I think that is a really powerful piece because a lot of times, hopefully not anymore. But like when I was in a classroom, it was like, those are your kids.
Mhm.
These are my kids. And I hope that's not the way this is because they're our kids, right? Everybody in that school has a responsibility for those kids. And so with this, you can add a co-teacher to your library. So if I create a library and I've got all my students in there and Katie is my special ed teacher, then I can add her to the library and she can become a co-teacher and she can help by giving feedback, by helping kids edit, any kid, right, that's in that library. So she becomes essentially basically the same rights that I have within my own library. She can have the same, so she can help out. And the other thing that we've seen a lot of with collaboration is the ability to, one person makes a really great resource, right? And says, hey, I've made this really amazing math template. And then we invite them to join our library. We make them a co-teacher, and then they can add their templates. They can add their thoughts and help us edit these, amazing templates that we've created so that we can, again, share those out with other people. So collaboration is definitely one of my favorites, along with that, specifically with the co-teaching piece, but love it.
Same. All right. What about IEPs?
Yeah, so IEPs, we have this really amazing book right here, this IEP guide for families that Christina Mahar, who is also on our content team, created, and just things that you can send out to parents. Like what's important to note. What do you need to prepare for before a meeting, but also who's on the team. All right, so if you go back a page, Katie, I forgot that page was in there. I love this page right here. One more, sorry. Right, that one right there. Meet the IEP team. I don't know how many times I have done a meeting, and all of a sudden these people show up, and you can just see the parent faces because they're just like, wait, who are these people, right? And it kind of can be overwhelming, right, for a parent to come into an IEP meeting. All of a sudden there's like 10 people in the meeting. So I think this is really cool because you can create this book ahead of time, and you can say to people, here's the people that are on our team that could potentially be in your meeting, right? And let them know. And you could even have them put a video in there or an audio button kind of telling you who they are and what they do. But I think this is a really great piece here just to get people prepared. But I also love the fact that a lot of kids and schools are using Book Creator as a way for students to lead their own IEP meetings, right? So if we go back to that thought of documenting progress and tracking progress, the kids can do all of that right here, right within Book Creator, and then they can show that to their parents during the meeting. So I think this is a great way to use this. And if you want to also translate this, you can translate it right into languages, so different languages. So if your parents don't speak English, fine, translate the book, bring it in here, have them ready for the IEP meeting.
100%. Love it. All right. And the last little thing we have to show is social stories. So people have been using social stories in Book Creator. I think since Book Creator kind of came out, teachers are like, oh, this is a great way to make social stories for our students. We took that a step further this year. And again, Christina on our content team made these 4 wonderful books of social stories to introduce back to school procedures and norms to students. So this one's all about hallway practices. So you can remix these books and use them, and also just have the inspiration to make your own social stories to meet the needs of the skills that your students need to build.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
that's been a lot, but I know, Jon, you probably have some more things to say that we didn't touch on.
Oh, I am never short of things to say. That's for sure. But going back to the whole social stories thing, I have to tell you that was one of my favorite examples of using Book Creator that I ever had. I remember a speech teacher came to me and said, I've got 4 autistic boys, very low functioning, academically very low, social skills very low, like it was bad news.
Yeah.
And she wanted me to help her with something else. And I came in and I was like, how about, have you thought about writing a book? And she's like, no, I haven't. And I was like, well, let me come in and meet these kids and chat. And so I came in, and after we got past the, we're scared of whoever this guy is kind of thing, I started telling them that we knew that their social skills, right? The ability to stop a conversation, the ability to start a conversation, interrupting others, eye contact was pretty bad, right? And they kind of giggled with me and they were like, yeah, it's not great. And I was like, so let's try to fix it. Like, let's make a book,
Mm-hmm.
And so we did a book where it was like, here's the wrong way to do all this stuff, right? And then we did a video and text and audio of what the right way to do it looks like. And I just giggled because I remember one time the kids looked at me and they're like, well, how do we make a video of like what not to do? Right. And I was like, this is easy. Like, you just have to be yourself. Right. And they started laughing. Right. We were making a big joke about it. I was like, just be you and I'll record yourself. And that's it. But the kids had such a really powerful experience acknowledging what they are not great at doing. Right. And then trying to work together to find ways to fix it. And then if you take that story a little bit further, there were teachers in the school who, with this group of students, saw me working with them in the hallway one day doing these videos. And this one teacher in particular told me, he's like, well, those kids aren't going to do anything. Like, they're useless. Right. And I was like, ugh. And I looked at this guy and I was like, don't ever talk to me again. Right. Like, and it wasn't as nice as that sounded. But I was like, don't ever talk to me again, because these kids are really doing amazing things. And I looked up at the wall because the teacher had put a map. And every time our book was viewed in a different country, she put the little pin in the map of where that book was viewed. And so I looked at this teacher who I didn't like, and I said, "Are you a published author?" And he goes, "No." And I said, "Well, these 4 useless kids right here?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "They are." I was like, "Look where they've had their books read in all these different countries." And he was just like, that was it. The guy never talked to me again. I never talked to him again. This is powerful stuff, right? When you get kids reflecting on their learning, wanting to change, creating social stories, creating situational stories to help them, that empowers them. And anytime that we can empower these kids, give them the opportunity to get their learning back, right? And take control of their own learning, it's going to make huge difference in terms of engagement and also getting kids to want to progress even further. So I think this is all very, very powerful stuff.
It is. It's so powerful when we give students the autonomy and the skills, and in this case, a tool that they can all use. Yeah, the social stories resources are in the link that we shared at the beginning of the webinar today with all the resources. So we'll try and go back and share that in the chat after we get off today. But thank you all so much for joining us. And we will see you at our next webinar in later in October. We have 2 webinars lined up, one for librarians and one all about portfolios. So you will find those on our webinar page, and we hope you can join us.
Which I forgot to mention, even though I wrote it down in my notes, to talk about the webinar for portfolios.
It's okay. I got you. I'm here.
It's coming up. All right, folks. Have a great day.
Bye.
See ya.